Yeah, thank you everyone, and welcome once again for this BFSI SOC seminar. I, while it is about security of BFSI, there is something that I had a different thought, and I wanted to put that as the keynote speech because it is not just BFSI. It's security is a very basic component of human life itself. So, and I was just researching and I found out that there are roughly around 6,900 languages that are spoken daily on our planet. And probably thousands of these languages serve thousands of cultures from the smallest community that exists to the largest continent out there in the world, if I may. Now, what's interesting is that even with such vast diversity among the global population, we still have some kind of alternate languages that exist and methods of communication that are understood by everybody. For example, the world understands mathematics. It is universal that, let's say, if you have one apple and someone else gives you another apple, it adds up to two apples. Everyone understands this well enough. If you look at what is the largest culture out there today in the world today, I believe it is none other than that of an internet user. It's a culture in itself. With more than 7.6 billion humans on earth, we see more than 45% are online communicating with each other on daily basis. So without even consciously realizing, we all share another common language. We may call it the networking protocol on which this internet basically runs and that power the social media platforms that tie us together, just like we are together right now. But this internet culture fails to have a common understanding about cybersecurity and threats we are being exposed to every single moment that we are online. We all are aware of the growth that we saw in the use of cloud-based collaboration and communication tools. Uh, we saw a surge. Uh, the number of daily meeting participants literally skyrocketed from 10 million to 300 million as far as Zoom is concerned, which is really the golden child of collaboration, and still they were being catered to efficiently. Uh, it is due to such cloud-based communication tools that organizations around the world could continue their operations. But what it has done is it has invariably expanded the surface of attack that we say in the cybersecurity terms. Now, organizations are using more than 4 cloud providers on an average today, according to the Right Scale report. And if you add to it, the edge computing, which cannot be ignored, the rapid adoption of emerging technologies such as AI, ML, IoT, blockchain, and the sheer volume of data that's being generated on per second basis, or I would say millisecond basis, as computing moves to span these multiple environments from on-premises to public cloud to edge computing, organizations need protection. Organizations need protection controls that help safeguard the sensitive IP and workload data wherever the data resides, whether it's public cloud, private cloud, on-prem, hybrid model. Suddenly one day you wake up and you see there is no boundary for your attack surface because so many clouds, so many devices, so many places, so many people. Where do you actually focus? Now, while we were forced to adopt to the cloud platform by the pandemic, and forced to adopt to the new way of working with collaboration tools, which definitely will be, it's good for most of us, and it is here to stay. It's not going. So there's a different way of living that we have to adopt to. Now, the biggest concern that popped up due to the sudden forced movement to the cloud, and I believe everyone would agree to it, revolves around cybersecurity. I just grabbed a checkpoint report which showed 5 times increase in the number of cyber attacks just in the initial 3 months of pandemic. So where it's leading to is that adoption of new technologies is really not a problem anymore, but the productivity and security is. Now we have the security experts out there and so many jargons used by technologists. Nothing against them or anything, but ultimately you see the basics can be summed up uh, to the following pointers that I'm going to present, and then of course cyber security tools and SOC as a service and other technology advancements. They'll have to work on it to keep us safe, but going back to the basics without even thinking of which industry we are in, there are some common traits that makes us vulnerable, no matter we are in BFSI or any other vertical. The laws that we should be remembering is that number one, if there is a vulnerability, it will be exploited. So just like they say that, the fundamental reason behind divorce is getting married in the first place. So similarly, when you are online, you are already there, you are exposed to the threat. That's the fundamental reason. Think of think of the first bank that was ever built, a physical bank that was ever built in the world. There would be at least one person out there who must have immediately started thinking, how do I rob this bank? Or I want to rob this bank. That thought would have come in his mind right away. Well, in modern era, hackers have been looking out to get around these frameworks that govern computer systems or a program and ultimately part of a society. Why I say society? It's deep rooted. These vulnerabilities, they are deep rooted. Think about a small time car thief, right? Who covers the nameplate of the car to avoid getting caught, all the way to infecting a large computer system to derail the entire maybe nuclear weapon program. So, so what we need to understand is that if there is a vulnerability, it will be exploited. There is no second thought about it. The second thing that we should accept graciously is that everything is vulnerable in some way or another. We cannot assume that anything is safe today. Nothing is off the table when it comes to hacking. We've seen so many organizations who have had massive breaches that we have heard about and have seen them spending millions annually on cyber defense strategies. And look at all the e commerce giants, they hold billions of records and they fall under so many compliance laws of the nation and the industry for data security, such as PCI DSS, for example. Even for ages, we assume that processors, a simple thing, which a simply complicated thing, I would say, a processor in a computer, they are safe and they are doing their job very securely. Just few years back, it was discovered that these so-called workhorses, they also carry serious vulnerabilities. And that gave rise to what we now know as confidential computing, where data now needs to be encrypted even during processing in memory, not just data at rest or data in motion. The third law that brings us closer to our understanding is that it is by nature that humans trust even when they shouldn't. So we are raised in a society which is based on trust, and it needs trust as the base to be to be alive. Now, growing up, we have similar expectations from technology and the people that is part of our internet culture. We expect, we take things for granted. Uh, we are so much, wired that we want the light to go on as soon as we flip the switch to on, or we expect the mechanic to fix a car when we pay them. But somewhere when we question the technology infrastructure and the online internet culture and the world that we are living in, we do not probably question the things so seriously. And this is one of the greatest vulnerabilities. And therefore, we also know that when it comes to the weakest link, it is always the human in the organization and not the technology. The fourth law is, with innovation comes opportunity for exploitation. We should always remember this. Look at Graham Bell. Long back, he invented telephone, and the world suddenly became smaller. Bill Gates created a system, came up with Windows, a computer, and technology reached every person. Think about Mark Zuckerberg. He created a social platform, and we all are using it today in our daily lives. Uh, what is happening today? We have matured to IoT platforms. We are living in the age of IoT. In fact, Internet of Everything now, and these are becoming part of our lives. Unique solutions for smart cars and smart homes and smart cities that are being observed. Even it is helping for our health. I rarely see a person today who is not wearing a smart watch or a health band. uh, Now, one of the biggest exploits, if you look back 3 4 years back, happened in the world of IoT, where a virus known as Mirai infected millions of IoT devices, creating some of the largest internet attacks world had ever witnessed at that time. And as innovations continue in technology, no matter which vertical we are in, we need to keep this perspective alive that exploitation surface for attacks will keep on growing with every new innovation that comes out in the market. And lastly, the fundamental law that when we are in doubt, go back to reading statement number 1 on the screen. There are no exceptions. Every issue with cybersecurity or technology stems from some kind of vulnerability. It could be a major vulnerability or it could be a very, very minor vulnerability. But the consequence could be a cybersecurity threat. If we ever forget this, we are actually asking ourselves for trouble. It is not about what technology is out there in the market that you should be using. It is by starting with the thought that we are vulnerable. Everything is vulnerable out there. And our ability to defend from the attacks basically comes from this understanding of the nature itself, which makes these laws immutable, the human nature of trust. And when we start thinking like a hacker, is really when we actually can stop them, or at least reach a point of stopping them. And this leads us to our common language in cybersecurity, and probably the common rule: thinking like a hacker and keeping the perspective mentioned right now on the screen. Thank you for all your time, and you have a pleasant session ahead with all our eminent panelists. And I hope you enjoy the evening with us in this webinar. Thank you so much.